Hi everyone, good morning. Or good afternoon, or good evening. So, in this video, I'm going to show you how to simplify the square root of a positive number. Okay, I did a previous video did where I completed two examples. So this one is going to be our third example. Okay, so I'm asking you to simplify the square root of 20. Okay, so as you can see, 20 is not the perfect square because there's no whole number when you square, you get 20. So 20 is not the perfect square. However, it's possible to rewrite 20 using a factor of a perfect square. Okay, so can you think of two numbers that multiply together that give us 20? Okay. Some of you want to say, okay, what about 2 and 10? You cannot use 2 and 10, the number 2 and 10. Why? Because when you do 2 times 10, 2 is not the perfect square as well as 10. 10 is not the perfect square. They are both imperfect square, like one of my students told me. They are imperfect. So now, um, what can we do then? So can you think of another pair of number that when you multiply together, you get 20, in which one of those number, one of the factor is a perfect square? You're right, it's going to be 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 multiply to 20, and 4 is the perfect square. Okay. In case for some of you it's hard to find the factors, I will say I like to do this kind of scaffolding. I like to do this kind of work on this side. So I know that I can find the prime factor of 20 or the factor of 20 by doing what? Okay, 20 end with the 0. Okay, so any number that ends with the 0 is an even number. Okay, so even number are divisible by 2, always true. Okay, so I'm going to branch out the 2. Okay, so I'm going to write 2 here because 20 is divisible by 2. So the number I'm going to write here is going to be, okay, 2 goes into 20 how many times? 10. Okay, so then I'm going to continue. Okay, 10 ends with the number of 0, and 0 is always divisible by 0 is an even number, and even numbers are always divisible by 2. So I'm going to brush out like this and write 2. And then to find the number that comes here on the right side of 2 is, okay, 2 goes into 10 how many times? 5 times. Okay, so I found the prime factor of 20. Okay, which are what? 2 times 2, which is 4, right? Which is the perfect square, as well as 5. Okay, so that's the way I do. I like to identify the factor like this using my knowledge of a number that is divisible either by 2 or 0, or by 2, 5, or 3. 20 is also divisible. Any number that ends with the 0 is divisible by 2 or by 5. Okay, but I could have started with number 5. I think it'd be easier, but I just, yeah, started with 2. Okay. So now we find the factors of 20, which is going to be 4 times 5. So now, because we have the operation of multiplication here, okay, because we do have multiplication, okay, I'm going to write the single square root as 2 square root. Why? Because of multiplication. It's only work when you have multiplication. So I'm going to write the square root of 4 times the square root of 5. Why am I doing this? It's just because it's multiplication. Okay. Can you do that with addition? If it was 4 plus 4, if it was a plus or minus, never, never true. Okay. It only works. You can split one square root into 2 if you are multiplying or dividing. It doesn't work for addition or subtraction. Okay. So now let's continue. So I know now that 4 is a perfect square. Okay. So, and I know I can rewrite 4 as a square. Okay. So what whole number do I multiply by itself? I get 4. And that number is 2. I'm going to times. And the 5 is not the perfect square. It is an imperfect square. Okay, so we cannot find a whole number when you square it, you get 5. So what do we do? In that case, we leave it alone. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite the expression without the multiplication dot. So they assume that it's multiplication here, but they don't usually write the multiplication dot. So we simplify the square root of 20 as 2 times the square root of 5. So that's your final answer. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a couple example for you to check your understanding. Okay, so let's do number 4. Okay, check your understanding with number 4. simplifying the square root of 24. Okay, so how do we simplify the square root of 24? Okay, so you can find the factor of 24 first. Okay, so what I can do, okay, I can do the same procedure as before. Okay. 24 n raised to 4, and 4, the number by n raised to 4 is also divisible by 2. Okay, when a number n raised to even number, but the number divisible by 2. Okay, and I can use 2 here, but I can also use here the number 3. 24 is also divisible by 3. How do I know that? In case you, okay, you don't know, okay, you forgot your multiplication, so you can say, okay, to find if a number is divisible by 3, okay, divisible by 3, what do? You want to take each digit. So you take the 2 and you add them together, and the 4, you add them together. 2 plus 4 is 6, okay, and it's the number added to 6, and 6 is divisible by 3. Okay, so that's why I know that 24 is divisible by 3. Okay, another way you can see that too. Okay, now 24. What are the factors? I can start with 2 here, but since I already done 2 earlier, so let me use 3. Okay, why? Because when I add the numbers together, I get 6, and 6 is divisible by 3. Now, what is 23 goes into 24? How many times? Okay, it's going to be 8 times. Okay, and 8 is an even number. Even number are always divisible by 2, so I'm going to write 2 here and 4. Okay, so I'm going to stop right now. Why? Because I identified the perfect square, which is 4. Okay, and the remaining factor, which is 3 and 2, are not perfect squares, so I'm just going to multiply them together. So 24, the factor of 4 is going to be, the factor of 24 is going to be, okay, 6 times 4. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite as 6 times 4. Okay, then I'm going to split into 2. Why? Because of the operation of multiplication. So what is the square root of 6? We leave it alone. Times, what is the square root of 4? Is 2. Okay. Now, always write the factor that is rational in front. So it should be now 2 square root of 6. So the square root of 24 can be simplified as 2 times the square root of 26. Okay. So let me give you another one for you to check your understanding. Number 5. So checking for understanding. Okay, checking your own understanding. So number 5, what is the square root of 27? Please pause the video. Okay, use the strategy that I've shown you. Okay, to identify. Okay, to simplify the square root of 27. Okay, so this is my example. So I found 3 times square root of 3. Okay, so let me give you one more. Okay, so number 6. What is the square root of, simplify the square root of 50? What is the square root of 50 equal to? Please pause the video and simplify the square root of 50. Okay, so to simplify the square root of 50, I found the factor of 50, which is 25 and 2. Okay, the number 50 ends with a 0. So I know that 50 is very divisible by either by 5. You can either use it by 5 or 2. Okay, so and then you'll be able to identify the perfect square, which is 25 and 2. And then you split into 2, and you know that square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of 2, you leave it alone. So when I break into the 50, like the number, the radicand into 2 factors, I like to write the perfect square first. So I don't have to rearrange like here. I can skip the steps. I don't have to rearrange. I can move the rational number in front. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. Okay, thank you for being here, and also watching my video. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.